Hi, my name is Kevonte Taylor. I'm one of the kids that went on the free trip to Africa, and I'd like to say thank you so much for taking y'all time to pay for the trip. I'm very grateful. I learned a lot. I had a very great experience thanks to y'all, and like I said, I appreciate it so much.
My name is Kamora Stedman. I was one of the students who were chosen for the 2025 Kids Free Trip to Africa. It was such an amazing experience. Thank you to those of you who donated.
Hi, my name is Isis Carter, and I would like to thank everyone who donated for me to be able to go to the Kids Free Trip to Africa this year.
Special thank you to the Kids Free Trip to Egypt and Ghana, year's class 2025. I really enjoyed my trip going, and we learned so much. I would say it was a very enriching experience because I remember we were on the cruise. On the cruise to go on the road trips on the bus, and it was so amazing. I got to sit next to all my friends, and we were on a plane. I went on for the first time, and it was kind of scary at first. I had my friend right there. Here's all the people who supported us going on this trip, and a special thank you to you all. We couldn't have done it without you. I really appreciate you guys letting us go on this once in a lifetime opportunity trip. Thank you. Class 2025.
So first of all, I want to start by saying my name is Lawrence Pascal. I was one of the kids to come on this free trip to Africa. I'm back now, and I want to thank all my donators for this trip, and I wouldn't have done it without y'all, so I'm thankful for y'all donating all the money. $48,000 is a lot. Thanks for all of it. And yeah, I'm back.
Hi, this is Maya, one of the kids that was allowed to go to chosen to go to the free Kids to Africa trip. I'm just coming on here to say thank you for donating and allowing me to be able to go on this trip. Thank you so much. My experience was amazing.
Hi guys, this is Aja Fletcher. Thank you guys for everybody who donated to us, and I truly appreciate it. I had a good time and I learned a lot of things, and I just appreciate y'all so much, and thank y'all. This part.
Peace and blessings, Muskegon. Peace and blessings. Thank you to everyone who contributed to the Kids Free Trip to Africa. It was a very successful trip. We're going to keep talking about it because when things go bad, we talk about it. When things go good, we got to talk about that too.
Yes, sir.
We're inside the Drive at 5. Coming up inside the 6 o'clock hour, it's been trending all over the news. The big alumni basketball game that took place over the weekend downtown Muskegon. Muskegon Big Reds against Muskegon Heights, Rob. And the Big Reds did it, man.
They did.
They did their thing. Thanks to Mr. Basketball hitting that clutch shot at the end. And so we're going to have Mr. Basketball, deep thrower. We're going to have Keith Guy, one of the coaches. We're going to have Eddie Spencer, who's also one of the producers. Well, he's the organizer for the event. They come up inside the 6 o'clock hour to talk about the big game. Because Muskegon folks they're going crazy now. they killing the internet right now.
They doing the bragging rights.
Oh yeah, and they got it. You know what I mean? We give them that. They got it. My guest today is an introduction. His first time having him on, at least on our show. I don't know if he's been on the Community Focus or not, but he's running for mayor of the city of Muskegon. They've narrowed this thing down to 2 candidates for the mayor's race here in the city of Muskegon. Bob Garrettson joins the conversation. Bob Garrettson, welcome to the show, sir. How you doing?
I'm great, Paul. How are you?
Doing good. So, who is Bob Garrettson?
I will tell you all about Bob Garrettson. It's one of my favorite topics. Didn't the thrower come off the bench? Like, didn't he limp out like he was?
He might have.
I think it was one of those, like, because I watched a little bit of the highlights. I wasn't in town, so I didn't get to see it. But it looked like it was a ton of fun. It looked like everybody was.
Yeah, I missed it too. I just got in last night from Orlando, so I missed it. But I saw the highlight.
I probably just passed like 2 people in the airport.
Yeah. But it was packed. It was packed.
It looked off the hook. Like, it looked amazing. Yes. Everybody having a really good time. So yes, I'm Bob Garrettson. I'm running for mayor of Muskegon, and I appreciate this time. You know, it was great that the team here got together and did a candidate forum before the primary. and now it's Ken and I for the general election. And I do have to introduce myself. I've never been involved in politics before. Like this is not my jam. This is not something I've been doing my whole life. So to give you a little bit of the background for me, I've grown up all over the place. So I was out in the Pacific Northwest. I was in the Navy for 6 years. I served over in Japan. I was on USS Blue Ridge, did a bunch of jobs there, went to DC, worked at the Bureau of Naval Personnel right by the Pentagon. And then I got a graduate degree in public administration. So graduate degree in government.
Wow.
And I did that on purpose. Like I thought that from my time in the Navy and from my experience there, that there's things that government does real well. And there's things that government needs to improve upon. And so government has a role. And so I studied that. I thought this was going to be my long-term career. I went and worked for a county government for 2 years down in Kansas. My wife, and trust me, gentlemen, I outkicked my coverage. So we followed her job. She's an attorney. She was working in the U.S. Attorney's Office. I got a job at a county government.
Wait a minute, you just blew over that. Did he just say U.S. Attorney's Office?
Oh, it gets worse.
Worse?
Don't let me start talking about my kids.
Oh Lord, come on with it.
I'm like an underachiever in my family.
You and me both.
So anyway, we were in Kansas City. I worked for local government, budget, IT. This will date me. I did some Y2K project management.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm not the youngest of the persons in the game, but I had an opportunity to start my own business. So I've been doing that for 25 years. I work in finance, so I have a financial services company. It's right downtown. It's right in the Chamber Building. I've got an office there. I've got an office in Kansas. So we did what you do when you have a family. You have kids, and you start thinking, where do you want those kids to be?
Right.
And we want them to be in Michigan. That's where my wife's from. My wife's from Muskegon. She grew up here. We're actually living in the house she grew up in, which is about 2 blocks away. It was a tough commute for me. So we initially moved back and we lived close to the grandparents. You want to have the grandparents be part of, not just for date night, but just be part of all the kid stuff, all the activities and those kind of things. We did take a couple years and live in Brooklyn, New York. That was a great opportunity. At the time, my wife was advocating against mass incarceration. So she was working for City University of New York. She published some articles. She worked with, Brian Stevenson and a lot of really fantastic. You should actually have her on. She's the bomb.
You got to get us to connect.
I will.
Some real names right there.
So
he got to get us to connect, Pierre.
We moved back. She worked for the ACLU, once again advocating in Michigan and studying, how can we reduce both the biases in the system and the incarceration of way too many people for way too little stuff. So that to me was something that she was passionate about, and we have allowed and followed that passion. So I've got 2 kids, and I'm going to be brief on this because they say I'm braggadocious about them. But I have my son Ben, who's 23, who I just saw in Baltimore. He's working out there. He graduated from college. He's working for Johns Hopkins.
Oh wow!
And I got my daughter Kate, who's down in Atlanta, and she goes to Georgia Tech. But she's only doing biomedical engineering. So
another Pentagon.
You want to talk about the runt of the litter? Like that's me.
So you definitely got to be proud of your kids.
I'm super proud of them, but I'm proud of them for a lot of different reasons. Like it's not just that they're smart, that they're self-sufficient. They're funny. They care about people. My daughter did soccer camps over at Muskegon High School for kids because there's just not a lot of kids that get exposure to soccer at a young age.
Right.
So she did that for about 6 months, and she worked, partnered with different organizations. My son's done a lot of really fantastic volunteer stuff. So they're great. So I can take the show. We did move into my wife's house about 6 years ago. I moved my business downtown in 2008. And so if you guys remember 2008, it was
tough.
It was quiet. Let's just say I didn't have a lot of competition for parking spots.
So we moved from downtown in 2008 and came here. So we knew that downtown was still in a development stage.
Let's just say it still had lots of potential.
Yeah. Comedians would come here and be like, "What happened? What war was y'all in?"
That's right. I was in Kansas City when they redid their downtown, and it was not much more advanced than what Muskegon's was. And it took a community. It took a lot of partnerships. It took people taking risk. And I believe cities need centers. So I think you need to have a thriving downtown where everybody is invited in, where everybody has access, where everybody feels that they're welcome and feels like there's activities and there's things that are for us as a community. It's where we can gather.
So do you think Muskegon has that now? Is Muskegon downtown welcoming? Does it have everything that you think it can have? Because you've been to a lot of big cities now, Brooklyn and Kansas City and DC. And
I'm sure you go to Atlanta to visit.
Yeah.
So
I love Atlanta and Baltimore. Like there's some fun areas. It's fun to have kids that are in fun places.
Yeah.
I would say we're getting there. It's almost like, oh wait, we're not there yet. And like I was a huge fan of Kaya's Cajun Kitchen.
Yeah.
That was something I supported. I think Lumberman's is one of the first places you see where you see Muskegon getting together.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you go there and you got the soul food, you've got
a variety of
Asian
food.
cuisine, you got the Mexican place, you got I love going there, whether it's in the summer and once again you can walk there for me,
right?
And seeing Muskegon, and I think that's something we can replicate. Right. Like I've talked to the folks that were responsible for that. I've talked to the downtown development people, and we should do the same thing for grocery stores. When you look at trying to get a Meijer or one of these big grocery stores in here, it's a challenge, because of the density, because of the lake, because of a lot of different, because they're surrounding us. You go 5 minutes out of town, you're at a Meijer, right? Yeah. Almost north, south, east, or west. But we have really cool groceries. You've got, Supermercado San Jose, you've got Swan's Place out on Laketon. Yeah. Like, why don't we get some of these ethnic groceries, put them together, make it a place for Muskegon to gather, sell basic sundries. Like, I don't know if you guys live close to the downtown, but I hate driving to Meijer. Yeah. I mean, I just, my thing is I want to support our community. Yes. And in doing so, when I shop, I want to see our community. Yes. So to me, that is something to see what works. In this case, something like Lumberman's, and then how do we rinse and repeat it for grocery, for retail?
So we got like 8 minutes. So I'm at to just try to fire shot some questions at you.
Go.
What separates you from the current mayor, Kent Johnson?
So there's a few different things. I would say experience and leadership would be one. Not just the education and the master's degree, not just working in government, but also starting my own business, employing people, investing in the downtown. That these are things that give me a perspective and a level of experience that Ken doesn't have. And I'm not here to run down Ken. Like,
all right, I know y'all very cordial.
I've known Ken. Yeah. My mother-in-law was a sixth grade teacher, and my mother-in-law helped him get a job at the firm where I work. So this is not an anti-Ken thing. I don't know that there's things that he's doing within the city that I agree with, and that's why I'm running as an alternative.
So what you don't agree with?
So I don't agree with the way that the city commission is being run. And the reason I say that is because it's not just me. This is from talking to business owners, it's talking to neighbors, it's talking to people that want to have a voice in this community. And it's tough to get that. It's tough to get a word in edgewise, first of all, at the city commission. But we're also not talking about the things that, to me, are important to us, that are important to us as a community. Like the things we've talked about so far this year are smoking and vaping in parks and, which flags we should fly for which holidays. That's not what we should be focusing on. What we should be focusing on is, what are the opportunities that are available? How do we partner with other communities for things like economic development and public safety? How do we make sure that we continue to do not just housing and infill housing for some of the vacant lots, but how do we encourage people to be able to invest in their own homes? I see that finally where you've got neighbors, folks that have been here own their houses 10, 20 years that chose Muskegon, which is, the theme of my campaign. Right. That are finally able to reinvest in their properties. They're able to make it so that they have pride and they have places in their home. And we've been able to do that because we've moved pretty far. But how do we reward that? How do we make sure that we're not only attracting new people and attracting people from Grand Rapids and surrounding communities, but how do we make sure that people that have chosen, that have invested here, that have lived here, that have raised children here are being taken care of?
Go ahead, Big Rob, you got a question?
Yeah, downtown.
Yeah.
Do you think it's developed enough to where it would show the community? Because to me, it doesn't show the entire community.
Not at all. No, and that's an issue that we need to work on. So there's a group called the Business Equity Initiative, BEI, and that was founded by some really fantastic ladies, Kim Suarez, Mary Jo Gorman, and what they're trying to do is provide a bridge from when you want to have a business and you're a woman, you're a person of color, and then how do you get from there to bricks and mortar, proof of
Right.
concept? Like how do you get off the ground? And we're not doing enough of that. We're not. That's why I love Lumberman's, because you have both multi-ethnic and women business owners. You have Muskegon.
Right.
So we need to partner with these groups. I think that, we have really good people working for the city right now. So I think that if you were able to take some of these nonprofits that are focusing on some of these areas and put them together with the city and with Jake Ekholm and what his team can do, then you could get a lot more of these, a lot more diversity in your businesses. And I'll tell you a personal story that was just shocking to me, because I'm going around and talking to a ton of folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to a woman who's prominent in the Latina community, and she and I applied for a loan nearly the same day. And it was like a Saturday Night Live skit. Banker came to my office. Here's your bag of cash. She got denied 3 times, and she had to do a land contract with the person who owned the building that she was in, and that's wrong. Like that's
totally wrong.
Issue. So what we did is we introduced her to some of the local banks, and the business equity initiatives doing the same thing of trying to say, how do you get access to capital? So I got a note today from one of the people I met there who's got a daycare, who's got an amazing need, which is also a need in this community. So I'm going to work with her to see how can we make her financials, and she's a woman of color who's killing it, who's really fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we work on those financials? How do we make sure that she's got the business case that she can go forward with to better serve the community, to better be entrepreneurial, to better have access to capital, to do the things she's want to do. So I think that that's one of the things that we need to look at as a community of how do we put these people together? It's a very long form answer, but it's something I'm really passionate about, because I am the patriarchy. Like I am the middle-aged white affluent guy. And so I want people to have the same kind of opportunities that are given to me.
Yeah.
Just because of my background and because of what I've seen.
You hear about access to the beach. You hear about public access for everyone. What are your thoughts on that?
So this goes back a little bit to what we were talking about before we got on the air, which is, I just got back from Baltimore, and I see the Inner Harbor, and that's where the community comes to gather. When you go down there, there's music. I was down there. I'm going to totally flex. I was down there for Wu-Tang.
Hey, watch out.
You didn't say Wu-Tang.
I was down there, Wu-Tang in June. And you walk down through that area. So we don't have that. We don't have a place. You're talking about, once again, access for everyone. You either have to own a boat, you have to own $1 million condo, or you have to camp at the end of Fisherman's Landing in order to access really the Muskegon Lake.
Yeah.
And so I'm from downtown community. I live, right over by the high school. I want to walk down and watch a sunset and maybe have, a meal. And maybe that's where, once again, where we can gather as a community, that's a place we can gather as a community. Because I'll tell you, when you go to Baltimore, it looks like Baltimore.
Exactly.
It is
so
not.
Tell me, do Ken Johnson, the mayor, do he agree with you on that same thing? Do y'all agree on that? Or do
I don't know. And part of this is that we've had that little back and forth. If you actually asked kind of that question about public access, and I said, this is public access. And he's like, sounds like that's a good idea. I don't know. And part of that is that the back and forth right now of what to do with both the Mark Dock and with the campground at Fisherman's Landing is a little bit unclear, meaning that we're not getting a ton of information of what that looks like. And what I said in the candidate form that you were kind enough to put together, public access. Like that should be your first and foremost. That should be your alpha and omega. That's where you should start and end. Is how do the three of us go down there and meet down there, and have a cup of coffee or something else,
right?
And enjoy the fact that this community came together and took care of that lake. Like we invested in it, both state, federal, local, nonprofit. People going out and planting, that's something that we should enjoy. And I'm going to go one extra here. Sorry, I'm going long on this one. I've thought about the same thing when you talk about summer programs. Right? When you talk about summer programs, I've talked to the folks at Grand Valley, and I've talked to the folks at Mark Dock. Like, why don't we take kids out on Muskegon Lake on the boats that are available, that they have programming that they do year round, right? When you talk about what Grand Valley does, we could have kids in summer programs going out and seeing Muskegon Lake, doing it with a program that already exists.
Right.
That to me is one of those ways of let's find creative ways to partner with the for-profit, the nonprofit, and the government to be able to give kids access, to make sure that when kids grow up here, that they feel like they can go anywhere, that it's all for them.
So we live with Bob Garrettson. He's running for mayor of the city of Muskegon. I know we early. It's August. It's because of my schedule. My schedule is all my fault. So I got a hectic schedule for the next 2 months. I wanted to get a one-on-one. We're gonna get a one-on-one with the mayor, get his opinion, and then hopefully have you guys for separate interviews and do a candidate forum. We just want to look at some dates. How can people reach you to find out more information?
So, and I got to be really careful on this one because there's a lot of new things I'm doing. So I wasn't on Facebook before I started running for mayor. I guess I had what didn't knock on doors. Once again, I'm new at this. So if you go Bob Garrettson for Mayor of Muskegon on Facebook, and if you go electbobgarrettson.com is my website. And if I got either of those wrong, as long as I got one of them right, the other one refers to the other.
Yeah.
But follow me on Facebook. So I've got some fun content out there. Once again, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing, I've got one of the 24-year-old daughters of one of a good friend of ours, hold my hand and tell me how to do Facebook. So I've gone there making cookies. I'm on there, doing some of those social media things. But what I'm going to start doing here, starting in September, is every week we'll come out with 1 or 2 position pieces on some of the things that are important, whether that's economic development, housing, those kind of things. We're also going to start doing town halls in all the different neighborhoods in Muskegon, just to be accessible. Like, I want to introduce myself. I want to ask or answer some of those hard questions. And so that schedule will be out on my Facebook, on the Facebook. So no, I appreciate that.
All right, Bob Garrettson, thank you for stopping by. It's been nice. And we want to thank you. You donated to the Kids Free Trip to Africa 2025 trip. Didn't know us from a man in the moon, and you donated 25.
Oh, really? Well, thank you.
And you told us that it was the mayor. You told me it was the mayor that told you to donate.
It was actually, I saw it. Ken was promoting it, and then I'm gonna give him props. Like there's things that he does very well, and I'm not trying to throw shade on that, but I saw that through the website. It called to me. My daughter volunteered in Kenya. She volunteered at a children's hospital. She volunteered in a school for a summer. And I have friends that have worked also in Ghana. And so to have these kids be able to get outside and see in Africa some of the really, really incredible things they're doing to kind of tie into that history, I think is incredibly important. And I'm going to do one other shout out. I just found out about this, and we've got a little history with the boxing thing, but you've got the boxing fundraiser that's coming in September at Smith Ryerson. Yeah. So look that up. For me, it was when we were in Brooklyn, we got to box at, oh shit, I just lost the name of the gym. Gleason's. Okay. So that's where Ali trained. So I love that. I think it's a great activity for kids. It teaches discipline. It gives them access to something that they wouldn't. So shout out to Muskegon Boxing Club and what they do for the kids, and go out there and support them, because those are the kind of things that help make this community great.
And we have a mentee that's in Muskegon Boxing Club, Jeremiah Crawford.
Okay.
He boxes with them. And there's also another boxing club out there in Muskegon Heights too.
Yeah.
Right. And those are the things, like we need to tie these things together. We need to lift them up. Like, we need to make sure that these kids have activities that teach them. Like it's a great I got to tell you, first time I ever boxed, I nearly threw up, and my son did. So I mean, it'll push you.
It's real. Not for me. Do the game. Do the game. All right, we got to go. Coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, the GOAT KG stops in. We got Mr. Basketball gonna be with us. Deshaun Thrower gonna be talking about the game along with Eddie Spencer, the big game that happened over the weekend. Going back to more music. It's Afternoon Jam.